Hi, this is Kush from creativepadphotography.com, and in this video we'll be continuing with learning the basics of Photoshop. So we'll be looking in this video at using some of the basic selection tools that Photoshop offers, right? So let's dive into it. So what I want you to do is open Photoshop and then click on New, File, New. And that's how you create a new document inside Photoshop. So you can do two things: either you can create a document or you can open an existing image. So right now, just for the initial part of this video, we'll be working on something like a plain image. So we'll just as a bonus, you'll learn how to just create a plain looking image, like of any solid color, right? So you can select, once you select new, you can select the width and the height of your pixels. So let's say I can change it to 800 by 800, and resolution is fine. So I'm just gonna let everything remain the same. Just let background contents remain white, and just click on create. Right, so you get this you can right now call it an image or a canvas, and we can work on this, right? So what I'm going to do is, the moment you open something in Photoshop, whether it's an image or whether you create something like this, it will start to show up on this layers section here. Okay, if you don't see this, then you can access this by going to window and make sure that layer is checked. If it's unchecked, then that's what you're going to see, and make sure that this is checked like this. Okay, and always as a practice, just unlock this thing and just click on OK. You don't have to right now understand what that does to an image, and yeah, that's about it. So once you have this, what we'll be doing from videos from now onwards is we'll be looking at some basic functions and tools, like some of the functions here, some of the functions here, some of the functions within these menus. I'm not going to, of course, there are unlimited number of functions in Photoshop, but I'm going to mainly restrict myself in these videos to functions that are used by photographers first of all, and even within those, the ones which are used more frequently, not through everything, right? Because not every function will be too valuable for you, so we're not going to waste our time. We'll stick to some functions which are used almost in every image. Okay, so today we'll be learning about some basic selections, and what we'll be doing is, first of all, before we go on to the selections can be selected from here, so we're just going to see that in a moment. But before that, I'll probably, let's say, color this image. So as a bonus, you'll come to know how to color something. So once you open a document like this, let's say if I want it to be of blue color and not white, so what I can do is I can just go to edit, and I can go to fill, and you can just go to contents and select the color that you want. So let's say I select blue, and I click on OK. So now we got a nice blue color here. To be frank, I could have actually done all this, whatever I'm going to show you, on the white one, but I don't know why. Maybe I like blue. Okay, so first thing, let's say if we wanted only a certain part of this, the blue image, to be, let's say, green. Okay, so what you can do is, in that case, a very basic selection like this square selection can help you. So if you go to this part here, just click on rectangular tool, and once you have this, I'm just going to select this, and I can go to again to edit, to fill, and this time I can select green and click on OK. So you got this. And whenever you have these, this selection thing here, these are referred to as marching ants, right? Because they look like marching ants. So whenever you see these marching ants, you can just deselect them by pressing Control and D. So that's Command and D on your Mac, and Control and D on your Windows. So that's Control plus deselect. So you can see those will go away. So we got this image because of the selection used here. So right now, the first 2-3 selections I'll be showing you won't be too beneficial, or you may not be able to see the benefit of them on a photography image. Okay, these are mainly, as you can understand by this, once you go deep into these kind of selections and how I'm using them right now, they are more beneficial for graphic designers. Having said that, they are used a lot by photographers who really do a lot of advanced editing, and they add a lot of stuff to their shots. So you may not be able to understand right now, but later on in this video, when we'll be going to the other types of selections where we'll be opening a proper photograph, you'll be able to understand how to use the slightly more technical selections, which we'll be looking at in this very video. But I'm just want to get you warmed up so that you can come to know of some shortcuts like Control D and through these things and the edit fill functions, right? So you're always learning, right? So another thing is, let's say if I want a circle within this, which is, let's say, of white color, okay, or let's say any color. So again, what you can do is, this time your square tool or your rectangular tool won't help you. You just have to go to the elliptical one, the next one. So I select this, and let's say I draw a circle like this, and same process. Go to edit, fill, and select the color that you want. Let's say yellow, and Control and D to deselect this. So you got you've just been able to make some changes to this images. So you can understand how this can be very helpful for graphic designers, logo people. Not too much right now for photographers, but just getting you warmed up. Next type of selection, you don't have to know about these two right now. Next you can is the Lasso Tool, very famous. So here you have complete control. You don't have to worry about a particular shape. So let's say I can just select I can draw basically anything with my mouse, right? So not a very good artist, but let's say that is something which I'm gonna fill into. So let's say that. Okay, so Control and D, and boom, you got this. So you can use this to manually select something. Then you have your Polygonal Lasso Tool, which is if you want to draw something which is, you just click your mouse, and then this is automatic. I'm not holding down to my mouse. Then you again click your mouse, and you get a straight line. So you can basically keep on drawing straight lines. So that enables you to draw some shapes. Like let's say if I want to draw a shape like this, then you can easily do it, because it'll be too tough to do it with either of these three things that I've shown you before. So this again helps you later on when you'll go advanced into editing. Let's say if you want to draw a beam coming through a window, right? So this will be one of your starting points. To draw the shape of the beam, you'll be using the Polygonal Lasso Tool, but I'm not going to be showing you that right now. Right now I'm just going to fill it with a color, but just to make you understand how this all can also be used in creating or editing photograph proper DSLR shots, or for photographers, right? So let's just quickly fill it with something. Okay, so these are some very, very basic selections. Right now may not be very, very useful to you. Control and D to get rid of this, and yeah, that's about it. So it doesn't look too good, but we're going to move on to a much more sensible image so that you understand how you can use the rest of the selections. So I'm just going to close this. Okay, and this time we're going to be opening an image that we've got here. So in the description of this video, I have attached two images, this one and this one, so you'll be able to download these two so you can work with me. So I want you to open this. Once you downloaded both the images, open this one. Okay, so if you got this image, and first thing I like to basically do when I open an image is, because you get this view which is not too good, so you can go to view and you can click on fit on screen, so you get a much better and zoomed in view of your image. So we have this image here, and first thing we're going to just unlock this image. And I didn't show you this in the previous image, but one thing you should always do is, whenever you want to edit a shot, is go to this layer here, right click on it and click on duplicate layer. Okay, so that our original, whatever the work we do, comes on this layer. Okay, and our original layer remains untouched, which is very important for two reasons. One is that, of course, you should, if something goes wrong, nothing should happen to this image. You should always preserve your original. Secondly, once you go in advanced into editing, and there are multiple layers here, once you have this base layer, your original, it helps you to immediately compare it with how far you've gone, or what changes you've made with respect to the original. So keep this as it is and create a copy of this and start your work from here. Okay, right, so we have layer 0 copy, and we're going to do some work on this image. So what we're going to do here is, just to show you how selections can actually help you, we're going to get rid of this sky, right? You can see it's a plain boring looking sky, nothing much going on around here. So we're going to replace this with a much more dramatic looking sky. So what we need to do for that is, first of all, we need we should be able to select just the sky and not this man and not this ground. So selections can really help us here. But if we use any of these selections, right, we will not be able to do the job, right? If I choose this selection and if I press, let's say if I just press, if I press delete, this is just basically going to get deleted from the image. I'm not going to do that right now because that will remove the man also. We don't want that. So we only want the sky to be removed. So we want our selection to be so precise that it only selects the sky. So of course we cannot do that with any of the predefined shapes, right? So we're going to go on to the next tool here, where you'll either see this or you'll either see this. So this one is called quick selection and this one is called as the magic wand tool. So we're going to be looking at this tool first. It looks like this one, and I want you to select this. Once you have this, all you need to basically do is click on an area which you want to select. For example, I want to select the sky so that I can delete it, right? So I'm just going to click here, and you can see that it has precisely selected everything apart from the old man and apart from the ground. There are some things here which we'll soon correct, but that's how the magic wand tool works. Basically it works on the basis of contrast. So if the moment it notices difference in contrast, it's going to restrict the selection around that subject or that object which is producing the contrast, right? So you can see that here the edges are not of the same contrast as the middle part, so it has stopped here, right? So what I can do is there are two ways out of this to correct this situation. One is I can simply decrease the tolerance figure here, which by default is 32. So if I tell this magic wand tool that, let's say, go down to 16 here, then I'm basically telling it that look for less contrast, so it will select this. So let's just try this, right? So I'm just going to first of all deselect what I already selected and try this again at, let's say, maybe 10. So we're reducing the tolerance, and this time you'll probably see it'll select almost all of it or more of it. So okay, I'm sorry, just my mistake. If you decrease the tolerance, you're actually doing the opposite. So we're actually going to go up. So we had a default of 32, so let's say we'll go to 50. So now you can see we've got, just by a single click, we've been able to get most of this. Why? Because we've just reduced the we've increased the tolerance level. So we've got most of it, but you can still see there's a lot of contrast here. So probably again I can probably increase it, but there's also a downside of if you keep on increasing it, because then it might start to eat away whatever you did want to, right? So what you can do is, I always recommend that when it comes to tolerance, okay, you can increase it a bit, but there's absolutely no harm in keeping it at 32, where that's the default. Do this, and what you can do to get this is you can again make a selection. So in order to do that, once you make your first selection, I've just clicked my mouse button here to make this first selection. And to add to this selection, what you can do is you can press the shift key. So the moment I press the shift key, you can see this, if you just notice the cursor here, it turns into a plus next to the wand tool. So now if I keep my shift key, if I hold the shift key down and then if I press this, it's just going to add to this, to my selection. So now it's adding these contrast areas also. Similarly, I've not let the shift key go, and I'm going to add this also. Okay, and another area that you should add, if you've not noticed, is this little section here, just between his legs, right? So now if I leave my shift key, I've got everything that I wanted to be selected, right? And now I can easily delete this guy. So if I just press delete, I have pressed delete, but you won't see any change right now, because if you notice, it's just showing you the layer underneath, which is our original layer. So I'm just going to click on hide this layer so that this layer doesn't interfere. So if I hide this layer, now can you see these checkered board like thing? This means there's nothing below, right? So so now we can, so we're just seeing the marching ants now. We're just going to remove them by Control plus D, that is Control plus deselect, and now we've got an image in which a background can be replaced because we have been able to select the ground and the man and isolate the sky. So what I'm going to do now is you have to open the second image, which is of a sky with better clouds, better looking, more dramatic clouds, which is this one. And I'm just gonna use the move tool here. So when you open something, I think I'm slightly quick about this. When you open another image, it's going to open another tab like this. And what we need to do is we need to move this image on top of our first image. So what you can do is you can just use this move tool, the first tool, drag this tab out first, and then just drag this image on top of this image here. Okay. So you can see there's, and just close this. So you can see this has come as layer 1. So anytime you add something, it's going to just keep on piling up the layers, right? So first things first, that you should, I've just taken this image from Google, just to show you. So of course this is a low resolution, small sized image. Ideally what you would be doing in such a scenario is you would actually take another shot where the sky was better, or where if you had another DSLR shot, so that you kind of get the same size, because when you open up an image it might lose its quality, right? But I'm just showing you things here, so getting things to look real and all is not really, or of the right quality is not too important. How to do it is more important, right? So we have this right now, and if I move this around, first there are two problems right now. One is that this is on top, so this is going to come here, which is something we don't want, and second is this is small, so we're going to correct both the problems. So how you can do that is, for the first problem, just hold down this layer and shift it below this. So now whenever you move it, it's going to go behind this particular layer, okay, or this particular layer, the one with the man. And second problem is it being small right now, which usually won't be a problem for you if you're using 2 DSLR images, but anyway, it's always good to learn. So how you can expand an image or transform an image is by pressing, first of all, make sure that you're selecting the right layer. So we want to expand this layer, so this is layer 1. You have to press Control or Command on a Mac plus T for transform. Okay, so Control plus T. The moment you do that, you will see these little things come here, and you can just drag them to increase the image. Now there's just one problem. If I just drag it like this, the proportions will be lost. So in order to make sure that you drag it the right way so that the width and the height are locked, again you just need to keep the shift key pressed. So I'm going to press the shift key. Now it will lock the width and height, and I'm just going to increase the size of this, okay, till it fills up the checkered boxes or the transparent areas. And then I'm just going to hit enter once I'm done to get rid of these things. So you can see now we've been able to replace the boring sky with the correct amount of sky. You can see the gap here is filled. Anything that we selected, which we deleted, has been replaced by this layer. Right now you must have noticed these little pieces of grass here have not been, they're not looking too natural because we were not able to select them properly. That's because they're not easy to select. So you will have to be a bit patient, and once we go on to the section on advanced selections, that's where you learn how to precisely select even these things, right? If you're the impatient types and you don't want to wait for these videos, you can learn about something called, if you go to the select menu here, you can learn something about something called as select and mask function. But if you're a complete beginner, I would recommend don't do this. Follow these videos, because this can be a bit technical if you're not aware of some of the things that are going to be taught in this series. Okay, so we've been able to replace this sky. It may not look too realistic right now because I've just taken this image from Google, so the perspective is not right, the type of lighting is not right here, but my basic aim here is to show you how to do things. And once this is done, you can just save this image as a JPEG file, and you're done. So you've been able to completely transform your image, and this is referred to as transformational editing, for which you cannot use Lightroom or Camera Raw filter. You can only do this in Photoshop, right? So I'm going to show you one more image to show you some of the limitations also of using basic selections. So using this image, and I'm going to show you the other tool also, which is your quick selection tool. So I can use the magic wand tool here, and I can just simply press. You can see in studio shots like this, contrast is not really going to be a problem, especially when you have someone wearing a dark dress against a white background. It will be easily able to select the boundary of the person, but the problem will come when it comes to the hair. Any part which is not defined, right, or not, the boundary of which is not very clear. So I'm just going to press Ctrl+D. I'm just going to quickly show you how you can use quick selection tool also. So quick selection, when you have a quick selection tool, you'll have to manually just draw this, and it works on the same principle of contrast. And so I'm going to select this part, so I'm just going to press Shift, and you can again see the same problem as the magic wand tool, that when it comes to the hair part, it will not do a very good job. So this and this. So suppose if I were to press delete right now in order to get rid of this background, it won't look too good. So I just forgot this part here. So we may be able to get rid of the background here, but right now it may look okay to you. But if I replace this with another background, so I'm just going to quickly make another background, let's say of again, let's just fill it up with blue. Okay, suppose I want to replace it this, or maybe if you had another image like we did with the sky part. So I'm just going to pull this down, and I'm going to take this here, and you guessed it, Ctrl+T, and I'm going to do this, and you will see the faults. So you can see, as far as the body is concerned, as far as the arm is concerned, it's fine, but when it comes to the hair, which is a huge problem for photographers, neither your magic wand tool or your quick selection tool will be able to help you too much. So for that, again, if you're impatient, try learning about select and mask, which does the job very well. I'm going to cover this part later on, because this requires you to understand something called as layer masking, a function or a technique first. So I'm going to go, these are just basics, so I just want to go very, very slowly. There's some other advanced selections, like you can select according to color, and a lot of other ways also, which we'll be learning in the advanced selection video, which will be coming later on. So this is just the basic selection video, which will help you in some cases, but maybe not in all cases, but at least will give you a good understanding of how selections work and a good base to learn the advanced selections, even if you want to do it on your own, right? So that's about it for basic selections, and try your hand at it. It will vary from image to image whether you have to use quick selection or the magic wand tool. This is also referred to as the tragic wand tool, very rightly so, because it just doesn't work sometimes. So you can think of it like this: the more the contrast between your subject and the background, or anything that you're trying to select, any two things that you're trying to separate, the more the contrast between them, the more easier it is to use these two. The less contrast there is, you'll have to go to the advanced selections. So I hope you like this video about just some basic selections, and I hope you were able to use the images. We'll keep on continuing the same way, so I'll just keep going down here, here, and here, and teach you some more functions in the future videos. So I hope this helped you. Bye for now.